Both proof of stake and proof of work are consensus mechanisms that are needed to verify and validate transactions on the blockchain without needing a middleman. But what differentiates the two? How do they work, and how can you benefit from the two? Continue watching these videos to find out, and welcome to our channel where you learn all about the crypto world and the terminologies in a very simple way. In today's video, let's look at the proof of stake and the proof of work consensus mechanisms and see which is better. There's not a better place to start than the beginning. In 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto built the first ever crypto, the Bitcoin, and created a way for transactions to be verified on the blockchain without using third parties. This happened to be the first use case for blockchain and was possible because Satoshi created a consensus system, the proof of work system. The system helps to decide which way the blockchain arrives at consensus, or make sure no one is trying to play smart on the network, like double spending one fund. The proof of work is based on solving advanced mathematics called cryptography. These explain why currencies on the blockchain are known as cryptocurrencies. Cryptography is complex mathematical equations that can only be solved by very powerful computers. None of the equations are the same, and once solved, the blockchain authenticates the transactions. The proof of work is an amazing technological invention, but it lacks in certain areas and is very far from perfect. It takes up a lot of electricity consumption and is not very scalable, as only a few transactions are processed at a particular time. Because of these, other consensus mechanisms were developed, most notably the proof of stake, which hit the crypto world in 2012 and was developed by Scott Nadal and Sonny King. The first blockchain to use the proof of stake consensus mechanism was the Peercoin project, and its benefits ranged from a fairer and more equal system of mining to being more scalable and consuming less electricity. It's no wonder Ethereum, the second most popular crypto, is making the switch from a proof of work mechanism to proof of stakes. When this will be, we don't know, but we can surely expect unbelievable results when the project is complete. Another factor to consider in deciding which of these consensus mechanisms is better is their adoption. This would give you a clue on how each of these systems works. Things might get confusing here, but you will only get the simplest and easiest explanation. If you pay attention, you'll understand. If you don't, you can watch the video again and again until you do. The first adopter of proof of work was the Bitcoin blockchain. Anytime a transaction is carried out on the blockchain, it takes almost 10 minutes for it to be confirmed, as it confirms less than 10 transactions in a second. Because of this, transaction fees are high, even though they have risen and fallen over time to meet the demands of being a payment system that is accepted globally. All these issues arise because the proof of work system has limitations. To improve on this, Ethereum made a few changes to its proof of work system, which processes transactions faster than the Bitcoin blockchain. However, it's still not the fastest in the industry. Then there is the fact that the Ethereum blockchain still faces the issues with scalability that the Bitcoin blockchain has, even though it processes about 15 transactions in a second. Although more than that of Bitcoin, it's still below what the network needs. But hopefully, the Ethereum proof of stake will right these wrongs. The only problem is, we don't know when. The proof of stake, on the other hand, overcame the scalability issues of proof of work. You can find out all about it from our video that explains what a proof of stake consensus mechanism is and how it works. Another major difference between the two consensus mechanisms that would help you decide which is better is how transactions are verified on each system. For proof of work, we would use Bitcoin as an example. Remember that we mentioned Bitcoin uses 10 minutes for one transaction to be verified? That's exactly the time it takes for a new block to be created and then added to the chains of blocks that make up the blockchain. Every block in a blockchain contains different and unique information, so they need to be verified differently. Since there's no governing body to decide which is valid or not, the members decide if the blockchain uses computers to solve complex cryptographic problems. This is known as proof of work. Once this is solved, the transaction is valid and sent to all members of the network. The person who solved the problem is rewarded with Bitcoin for the work they did in verifying the transaction. The problem, however, is that people with computers with greater power have more opportunities in solving the problem and reaping the rewards, proving that proof of work is not a fair system. The process is known as mining, and the computers or individuals trying to solve problems are miners. The above example is similar to all proof-of-work blockchains, but there are some differences. How are transactions on the proof-of-stake verified? Is it the same with proof-of-work, or are they two very different concepts? Let's find out. Verifying transactions on the proof-of-stake mechanism is different from that of proof-of-work. Even though a cryptographic algorithm is still used, like in proof-of-work, the goal of the system is different. While proof-of-work would reward miners for solving complex mathematical problems and verifying transactions that add new blocks to the blockchain, proof-of-stake rewards stakers based on how much they have staked. The higher your stake, the higher your chances of being chosen to verify the next transactions and earn rewards. These stakers, also known as forgers or validators, earn rewards in the form of transaction fees. But to be able to validate or become one of these, you need to have staked up to the minimum requirements of the blockchain. This is a problem because of the large upfront capital you need to have before benefiting from it. But there are ways to go around this. You will find out at the end. In summary, while proof-of-stake just chooses their winner randomly based on how much crypto they have staked, proof-of-work operates differently. It needs all its miners to attempt to solve a difficult cryptographic sum, and the winner is who gets it right. Both systems share a similar trait. In the proof-of-stake, the more crypto you stake, the more chances of being rewarded, while in the proof-of-work, the more computational power you have, the better chance you have at solving the problem first and taking the rewards. But for the stakers and validators, things take a different turn because a slight mistake can cost them their stakes, while a miner must always be online, and being offline for too long might lead to certain degrees of risk. So which do you think is better, the proof-of-work consensus mechanism or the proof-of-stake? Many will go for proof-of-stake, probably because it solves lots of issues relating to centralization, electricity consumption, 51% attacks, and so on. But let's look at this in detail and see if all is as it seems. Proof-of-stake solves the issue of centralization by decentralizing mining power. How? In the proof-of-work, large companies form a centralized organization and buy lots of ASIC devices, which are known to generate lots of mining and computational power, and form a mining pool that allows people to pool their resources together and win the reward for mining. If you look at this closely, it's almost similar to the staking pool on the proof-of-stake blockchain, where crypto investors earn rewards for locking up their crypto assets. In terms of electricity consumption, the rate at which a proof-of-stake system consumes electricity is almost 99.9% less than the energy consumption of a proof-of-work system, which is better for the environment than the proof-of-work system. Lastly is the 51% attack, which can happen when one person or a group has more than 50% of the proof-of-work total mining power. If that happened, the person could alter the information on the block for their benefit, especially if they had a criminal mindset. Ever heard of the Verge blockchain story, where a crypto jacket walked away with 35 million of the blockchain's native crypto, the XVG coins, amounting to $1.7 million at the time of the attack? Performing a 51% attack on proof-of-stake wouldn't make lots of sense, because first, you need to own 51% of the stakes, and to do that, you will need to buy them from the market. The more you buy them, the more you reduce their supply, and the higher the price goes. And instead of benefiting from the attack, you might lose all your stakes if the network realizes what just happened. But alas, proof-of-stake also has its challenges and problems or disadvantages. The first is that it helps the rich to get richer. Remember, the more you stake, the greater your chances of being rewarded. It's not so much different from proof-of-work, where richer investors own devices with higher computational power. Then there is the fact that it does not cost forgers or stakers anything to work on different and multiple chains, which makes double spending slightly possible. This problem is known as the nothing at stake problem. But which of these two consensus mechanisms do you think is better? Let's hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. You can also check out our other videos and subscribe to our channel to keep abreast of the crypto world.